Now let's look at how do the different sociological perspectives look at stratification. The two perspectives which you are familiar with are the structural functionalism and the conflict perspective. Now, the structural functionalists are inclined to see social stratification as an expression of common values in the society. According to this theory, the stratification system is viewed as equitable. It's fair. It's just, because people get what the society seems to say that they deserve. Those at the top are seen as deserving greater power, prestige, and life chances than those at the bottom, who deserve much less of the each. In other words, the structural functionalists, they say that it's absolutely normal. Social inequalities, it's a norm. It's impossible to imagine a society where there would be no divisions, where there would be no inequality, according to the structural functionalists. So if the person is occupying a higher status, a higher position in the society, that's because this person is better qualified, is more hardworking, is more able, is more talented than the people who belong to the lower social classes. You see? So yes, it sounds really cynical and really ironic of structural functionalists to say so, but there are lots of people still who believe in this idea that everyone should get according to their skills, according to their abilities. So if the working class people, if some working class person wants to improve his or her lifestyle, then what they need to do is they need to work hard, really hard. They need to get education. They need to, to build a decent career, okay? And only after they have been rewarded for this, this working class person, would be able to climb up their social mobility ladder. Only thanks to this, this individual may eventually, improve his lifestyle and occupy a higher status in the society. Functionalists see inequality in the distribution of rewards as beneficial to both the individuals and the society, because society's tasks are accomplished by the best qualified people. All right? So if somebody is occupying a higher status, that's not because they've found themselves there accidentally. No, it's because they have really worked hard. They have really studied hard. They have really shown themselves really well in the career, in the workplace or whatever, that they have eventually been promoted to such a top position. Okay, so structural functionalists basically say that everyone is allocated in a certain social class or position according to their skills, abilities, qualifications, and talents. Conflict theorists, on the other hand, they view the existing distribution of rewards as unjust and detrimental to most people as well as to the society as a whole. So while structural functionalists are saying that the existing inequalities exist because this is how the society is constructed, this is how the people, that's because people get what they afford to get, right? Conflict theorists are suggesting no, this is not because of that. We have to get rid of the social inequalities, because the existing social inequalities exist based on the preferences and the desires of the people who occupy higher statuses in the society. In other words, the rich, the powerful, the capitalists, the mighty people, they are interested in maintaining the existing inequalities in the society. They don't want any changes, because these changes may end up in these powerful people losing the power. So why fight for these changes? Okay, so the powerful people, they are against any changes. They are for the status quo. They want to preserve their dominant position in the society. They don't want to let the poor, the powerless people, grow in importance, grow in status and prestige. To structural functionalists, power doesn't play a central role in maintaining a system of rewards and the privileges. They contend that the major function of stratification is to motivate the relatively few capable people to occupy a higher level, more prestige positions in the society. So for a person to improve his or her social class, what needs to happen is, first of all, they need to work hard, and secondly, they have to be rewarded in accordance with their work. So if the person works really hard, then the society has to reward this person, okay, by by increasing their salaries, by giving them some awards, some national awards or whatever, to signify that only able people, only hardworking people can improve their social class. To encourage people to want to occupy these more important positions, these people have to be offered rewards, as I mentioned a minute ago. Therefore, a society must not only be stratified, according to the structural functionalists, but it must be stratified in such a way that the higher a person rises in the system, the greater are the rewards attached to that position. In other words, people must want to improve their lifestyle, to improve their material well-being and social class, because they know that if they improve, if they work hard, then they will occupy a higher status in the society, which equals, being cool, being more influential, being more powerful, and so on and so forth. Without motivating these people to improve their social classes, there would be no changes, there would be no motivation for changing anything in the lives of these people. Conflict theorists argue that these positions will prove attractive to many people with no need to offer greater rewards. So you see, what they are saying is that first, they disagree with the structural functionalists. They say that you don't really need to tell the people that occupying a higher status in the society equals more representation, more power, more prestige. No, people know this already. People want to improve their social class anyway. So conflict theorists argue that since members of the upper class occupy these positions in large numbers, they have vested interest in attaching great rewards to them. Critics of functionalism also challenge the idea that positions vary in their importance to the society. Are garbage collectors, for instance, really less important to the survival of society than advertising executives? Okay, this is how they challenge the argument posed by structural functionalists, who say that one social position, one social class is more important than the other because there are much more able, much more qualified people there. But the conflict theorists are saying, no, this shouldn't be viewed like that. Because look at this question. Is a garbage collector really less important than some advertising executive? Of course not. Everyone is performing their own unique set of functions. Despite the lower pay and prestige of garbage collectors, they may actually be more important for the survival of the society. Additionally, many people may never get a chance to show that they can handle high-ranking social positions. Okay, they may be limited in their opportunities, in their skills, in their life chances. And these limitations may be imposed by the powerful members of the society. Finally, conflict theorists argue that ability and motivation are insignificant. What really matters is being born into the upper strata, where people have greater access to educational facilities and the right contacts.